Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's an example yesterday I saw of this woman who's been here. We might even play this clip. She's been here 20 years. She has 3 kids who were born here. Her kids are because of birthright citizenship, which is another subject that's coming up. And she's never bothered to even try to resolve her immigration status. Not in 20 years. She has never tried to resolve her immigration status. Not through Republican presidents, not through Democratic presidents, nothing. And so now, she's worried about being deported because they put out the sob story of this woman. Well, that's not the average person they're even looking at right now. The average person they're looking at crossed in the last 3 years are CNN is cutting jobs to embrace the digital future. No, they're cutting jobs because, as I like to say, they suck. CNN is undergoing a significant restructuring, planning to lay off about 200 employees, which constitutes approximately 6% of its workforce. This move is part of a broader strategy under CEO Mark Thompson to pivot towards a digital-first approach, focusing on expanding digital subscriptions and reducing costs from traditional TV operations. Wait a minute. Didn't they already try the CNN subscription service, which failed miserably? Which, if you truly have compassion for trans kids, you would allow them to all go through puberty, because 90% of kids who think they're trans change their mind once they go through puberty. That puberty is the fix for most of the problems. But David Hogg's in the medicalization of kids and sterilization of kids and medical and surgical altering of kids who can't make that decision at 12 years old or 13 years old. Diablo asks, why is it when I try to show empathy and concern, people always misconstrue it? Last time I asked someone if their mom at least got a good check from the clinic that botched the abortion. Oh! Oh, God. Damn it, AD. I think you just need to find a gentleman.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
I would be willing to bet everything I own that submitting a 22-minute video montage that shows the most egregious acts of violence you can find from that day, when the defendant in question is on that video for only 6 seconds and is seen walking calmly, is highly prejudicial and a violation of the defendant's due process rights. The person was found guilty and sentenced to 19 months in prison. Now, it took 2 hours to read through all of the documents that were in the case file. Every motion submitted by the defendant was denied. Every motion by the defendant was denied. How often does that happen? And every motion submitted by the government was granted. They turned a trespass misdemeanor that would have resulted in a $50 ticket into 5 misdemeanors and a felony charge by charging the defendant with a statute that would have required the Secret Service to rope off the section he was in, which they did not. They also charged him with a statute that would have been required them to prove Mike Pence was in the building at the time he walked through that corridor. He was not. And they used an Enron statute that the Supreme Court struck down. If you accept a pardon, you are admitting guilt. Period. That's the, because you can't be pardoned if you're not guilty.
Whether he can preemptive pardon, whether he can issue President's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr.
Oh,
President. That
you
would
can't?
be a gross abuse
Oh,
of the presidential
it's a
pardon authority.
gross abuse of presidential pardon authority. Well, there you go. You accepted a pardon, Adam Kinzinger. You think you may have committed a crime. Oh, here, J.B. Raskin. Dirty Q-tip. Dirty Q-tip, J.B. Raskin. What else? What did he have to say?
Well, the seeking of pardons is
Yes, it's only on
powerful
one side.
demonstration of the consciousness of guilt, or at least the consciousness that you may be in trouble.
J.B.
And that's
Raskin.
what's so shocking
Did he
about
get a
this.
pardon also? Wasn't he on
Well,
that committee?
The seeking of pardons is...
He was on that committee. I'm curious if you're going to condemn that part. Are you going to condemn that pardon?
You know, Joe Biden pardoned a lot of people. Yeah, he should answer for that and explain.
Lots of murderers, lots of drug dealers, lots of people who killed people, commuted the sentence of a couple murderers. One drug dealer who people died from taking the drugs that they sold them.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
The Obama Aniston rumors have gone wild. Rumors have emerged on social media that suggest Barack and Michelle Obama might be heading towards divorce, with speculators linking Barack Obama to actress Jennifer Aniston. Those rumors have gained traction following Michelle Obama's absence from Jimmy Carter's funeral and the inauguration, and are based on tabloid stories and social media speculation without solid confirmation from the individuals involved. So far, they're still rumors, and I don't know why people are perpetuating them, but it is kind of fun to perpetuate rumors like that. No one's come out to, out and out deny anything. That's the weird.
We should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity.
The
of a
audacity!
president who's so clearly
The
concerned about his
audacity!
own criminal culpability.
Oh my God, his own criminal culpability and his son's business dealings. I know that they're talking about Joe Biden, aren't they?
And that of his family members.
Black the Boy asks, are cats really soul suckers? Yes. Yes. That's why I'm not into cats. Dogs, man. I'm a dog guy. Avocado Stabby, is there an aisle in the grocery store that is less objectionable to have sex in? Where do you come up with this shit? Dude.
Has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician has risen.
Yes.
Somebody who 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, a dead.
And I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding Donald Trump's demise that has failed. I wonder how many people at Davos, again, let me say it again. I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding what they had hoped would be Trump's demise. Bet you there's a few of them there. And it didn't work, did it now? Didn't work now, did it?
Politically known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can do anything.
End of the show, every day on my show, if I put something on the screen or I'm talking about it, or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about, and even more, the ones I didn't even get to. I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Night.
Yes, 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 yes. Happy Monday. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night on the internet. Sorry, that was down a little bit. It should be better. And welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel on this Monday, the 17th of February, 2025. I had to look. I wasn't sure what the date was. But I'm here, and we got a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff to catch up on from the weekend. And a really weird thing about free speech. A lot of talk about free speech over the weekend, thanks to J.D. Vance's speech at the, what do they call it, the Munich Security Conference, the MSC. And then Margaret Brennan chimed in this weekend with just a really weird thing she said that even some people on the left are debunking. So we're going to get to that and a bunch more. There's a lot of news to, peruse. And we'll get through as much as we can. But of course, at first, we have to say hello to the troops. The troops, I salute you. First in the chat, of course, today is Mr. Avocatus Diabli, who gets the bell. Because the first person in the chat gets the bell. It's just, it's been an honor I've had since, I think, almost since I've started the show. Well, not originally. I guess I had a actual physical bell that I tapped. But there's only two people who watch this show. It's Johnny Hellcat and Hate Camel. They're the only ones who watch. So one of those two got the bell every day, usually Johnny Hellcat. But anyway, also good morning to Somnambul Nation, Tyre Alexander, the Scourge. Also, good morning, Resolute Germ. Amazing Disgrace is in the house. Ms. Wild Wolf, my fellow Minnesotan. Who else? Attack Alpac is in the house. Avocatus Diablo already said because he's the first. Who else is here? I'm scrolling down. Oh, Kara Soldier's in the house. Good morning also. Simon Wilkins, welcome back. Nice to see you. Chicago Mike making a rare appearance. Must be that federal holiday. Also, good morning, Woodcutter. Kay Shaw, good morning, Kirsten. Who else? Johnny Boomertech, of course. Green Badger Outdoors. And Aaron Meredith. So that's a good start, especially, since we just opened up the portal, so to speak. Please share the stream. Now, did I even tweet the stream? I don't think I did. Oh my gosh, I didn't even tweet the show. Well, here, let me do that real quick. Even though it's already started, I gotta tweet out the show because I didn't. And then you can, if you're following me on X, you can repost this thing. I'm not gonna do this. So anyway, there we go. I even got the right link. How about that? And I didn't do a let's go. I'm gonna do my own little let's go. Hang on. And let me make some what you call it? What do you call it? Making the donuts or something? What do they call it when you're doing something that you should have already done? Here, let me see if there's a good let's go here. Let's go. Yeah, let's do. There we go. Yeah, let's go, baby. We'll put Jelly Roll up. No, somebody did Jelly Roll the other day. Let me find someone else to put up here. Oh, let's do. How about the Ultimate Warrior? There we go. There we go. All right. So, there. If you want to tweet out the show, you can do that by. Here, in fact, I'll even put the link in the chat here. I'm not gonna post. I'm not gonna pin it, but here's the link. Share. Oh, reply with a let's go. I wish I could type faster. God, I'm a terrible typist. There we go. Reply to that. It's in the chat. Here we go. Thank you, by the way, Jethro Hetero, who bought a hoodie on pdognight.live-merch, which I'll drop a link on that too. pdognight.live merch. There'll be a link in the chat, maybe. There we go. Or in the links today, I'll have I don't know what shirt he bought though. I wonder what shirt he bought. A unisex heavy blend. I only have 2 types of items, so I'm not really sure. Anyway, so we're there. We got that. And then thank you also our first sponsor today, Chicago Mike. Yeah, thank you, sir. Dropping a 5 spot in the tip jar saying special holiday known as Mental Health Day. Well, there you go. Every once in a while you got to take one of those to say, because Mondays suck. Right? So thank you, Chicago Mike, dropping a 5 spot in the tip jar. Also, Avocado Dabbly on the Streamlabs, which makes him the Streamlabs superstar sponsor of the day. Dropping a small bullet in the tip jar saying, sure thing, Margaret. Nazi Germany, that place famous for free speech. Also, this is the vid I was speaking of. Oh, well, you know what? Let me pop that over in the links today too. And I'm yeah, I've seen this one. The Worcester City Council video. We'll try to get to that one today too. Holy smokes! Plus, I dropped a new short video on YouTube. If you haven't seen it yet, do me a favor, just go watch. I'll put it in the links today. It'll be at the bottom of the links. Just watch it, because I don't know what's going on with the algorithm, but apparently they don't think it needs to be disseminated. I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's get into the show, because I've been chatting a little too long. I didn't post this on. I didn't put it in locals either. Gosh darn it. Well, I'm going to skip putting it on locals today, but I will. My locals link. Oh, what's going on here? What the hell? Does anyone? By the way, do any of you follow me on locals? I don't know if you do or not. I know Tyre does. I have a handful of followers there, so somebody must be following me there. So, here, let's post this over here too, and then I won't feel like I let people down. There we go. All right, now it's on locals too. Drop this up here, cut and paste. There we go. All right, it's on locals too, if you happen to follow me there, which I want to start using more. I'm using that instead of Patreon, but I still haven't figured out. There's some things I got to figure out about it. So I don't use Patreon. I don't use Subscribestar. I use locals. So if you want to do regular donations to the show, just like $5 a month, whatever, you follow me on locals. And that's the fastest place to get the notifications, as long as I post it, right? So there you go. All right, enough about me and my foibles. Let's get into the show. By the way, thank you to all the people who have posted the show on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, and dropped a let's go. You guys are way ahead of the game. Holy moly. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. What the hell? Okay, so thank you. Oh, what the hell's going on here? That's not right. That don't work. There we go. All right, let's try that now. That's better. Gosh, I need to get my shit together. Here we go. Thank you, Somnambule Nation, tweeting out the show. Greatly appreciated. Also, Simon Wilkins throwing some donuts up here. It's not even National Donut Day, is it? What's with the donuts? I appreciate it. Don't know if I'll be able to stay awake for the whole time, but I guess I'll try to listen. Here's some donuts and lemon squares. There you go. Donuts with lemon square accoutrements. Fantastic. Also, thank you, Man Squatch and Somnambule Nation with, from the Never Ending Story. That's a great one. And that's a nice let's go. And Green Badger Outdoors with a little Chris Farley doing the Chippendales thing. That skit was so funny with him and Patrick Swayze. And in fact, apropos on the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live, SNL had their big anniversary show this weekend. Let's see. And we have more to see. Marty's bringing a light. Thank you, Ms. Wild Wolf, Resolute Germ with the little Hulk Hogan. Another one from Ms. Wild Wolf. And what else we got here? And a cat driving. That's, you know what? Cats doing human things are always funny. So there you go. All right. Thanks, everybody who are posting the show. I greatly appreciate it. Let's get into some news. Of course, today is President's Day. And so there's a President Day hashtag out there. And I haven't really scrolled through it. But, of course, well, it happens also to be George Washington's birthday. So the celebrity birthday and the day coincide with the President's Day thing. Somebody here called Canada Hates Trump. Hey, America, on behalf of Canada, I'd like to wish you happy President's Day to your 4 living presidents. Hope you're all doing well. Yeah, there's 5, dickhead. Sorry to the Canada Hate Trump guy. And then again, happy President's Day. Oh, to all these presidents except for him. But then someone did it to Joe Biden too, and not you. Okay. You know what? Look, I don't care if you like the president or not. All these men, especially in the 20th century and 21st century, usually came into office looking fairly new and left looking fairly old. And whether you like the president or not, they took on a big, big job for the United States of America. And so even the presidents I think who did a shitty job, Biden, Obama, or the ones I liked, whatever, I'm going to respect the office today because it really, it's one of those things that, except for Trump. Trump went in and came out looking the same because maybe he's used to high stress his whole life with his business. But I look, we don't need to, it's not a day to disparage any president you didn't like. Save that for tomorrow. And I'll go back to calling a couple of them dickheads. But it's President's Day. Respect the office. That's all I got to say about that. Moving on. By the way, and President's Day has multiple things happening along that line. But someone here says, there was no debate even at the time about the importance of George Washington, the indispensable man to the world. His decision to resign his commission alone made him the greatest character of the age. He was a man of God. Yeah, by the way, it's George Washington's birthday. Today we celebrate the birthday of Virginia's native hero and America's first president, George Washington, and recognize all of the American presidents who have served our nation. Now, what they're saying there is pretty amazing that our first president left office, didn't make himself a king, because we don't have kings here. And that was a big damn deal, that the leader of that new nation that wrote this Constitution actually left office when it was time for him to leave office. So that alone makes George Washington, being the first president, one of our greatest presidents, among many, many other things. So there you go. Moving on. Let's see what else we got. Washington's birthday, already did that. Oh, also on the special days, the holidays, the whatever holiday that people make up, whatever. Today is Random Act of Kindness Day. Now, I did not know that, and I'm going to scroll slowly because I haven't looked at this hashtag yet. But let's see. A random act of kindness can mean the world to someone, even if your random act of kindness seems quite small. That is true. My wife is kind of the queen of random acts of kindness. Every once in a while, she'll see an old man at the grocery store, and they've got a couple items, and she'll go quickly swipe her card while the guy's not looking and pay for whatever couple items he has. Although that backfired one time because she did that once, and then the guy had a full shopping cart with his wife behind him, and well, it didn't backfire because it was still a random act of kindness, but ended up paying for their entire cart. But still, it doesn't have to be anything like that. Just helping somebody out or doing something nice for someone. Happy Random Act of Kindness Day. Come along with us as we surprise some of our wonderful colleagues at the St. Anne's with a midshift pick-me-up. What will you be doing to celebrate? So find something, do a random act of kindness today. We could have had an American monarchy. Yeah, we could have, and that's why George Washington probably is one of our greatest presidents. When Trump came back to office looking pretty much the same as he did 8 years ago. Exactly, he does. He looks the same. So good for him. All right, what else we got? Today is also Saturday Night Live this weekend celebrated its 50th anniversary. That is just wild to me. And I remember Saturday Night Live when I was a kid, when it first came out, and it was all the rage with the not ready for primetime players, Gilda Radner, Jane Curtin, Bill Murray. No, Bill Murray was not one of the originals. Sorry, he has added the cast. Chevy Chase, John Belushi, Gilda Radner, Dan Aykroyd. Did I get everybody? I think I did. John Belushi. I forgot John Belushi, which, how can you forget John Belushi? But what an amazing thing SNL's been. And granted, everyone says, oh, you know, really sucks now, or it really sucked over the last year. Well, it always actually kind of sucks. Some of the skits were just shit, but they have done many good things. There have been many great comedians, whatever, that come out of it. And I would spend time talking about this or maybe playing clips from it, but it's one of those things you can't do on YouTube. You have to save it. But in this tab, when you go on, if you go through the links today, oh, Garrett Morris. Did I say Garrett Morris? Yeah, Garrett Morris too. I've been going through this tab a little bit this morning, just watching some of the things they highlighted from the Saturday night show. And pretty much there were a lot of funny things, a lot of good things, a lot of heartwarming things. The only one that everyone's complaining about is Tom Hanks coming on in the middle of a skit of Black Jeopardy, where for no reason, Eddie Murphy was doing an imitation of Tracy Morgan, and it was hilarious. It was so spot on Tracy Morgan. And then out of the blue, Eddie Murphy's gone, and Tom Hanks there dressed up as the character that comes on to Black Jeopardy, the white guy, Trump supporting what a guy. And inexplicably, they did some goofy bit about him not being afraid to shake hands with the host because he's black. And it was just so out there. And it had no place and no rhyme or reason within the skit. And that's the only thing I see people complaining about. But otherwise, if you watch some of these clips from the show, Adam Sandler singing a song about the 50 years of Saturday Night Live was great. There were lots of clips. There was a few other skits that were pretty good from that night. And you got the Eddie Murphy doing Tracy Morgan was hilarious. It was so spot on. And also, Bill Murray ranking the Weekend Update anchors too was pretty funny too. So I highly encourage you to check out this link today and check out the SNL 50. It's probably better than anything they've done in the last 10 years. I'm just saying, it's really good. And Forrest Gump is trending because, again, Tom Hanks and so people are saying that his skit may as well have been, him being stupid as stupid does. And it was just so out of place. It was weird. All right, I'm going to move on. EpiPen is trending. Now, over the weekend, this young lady dropped a TikTok video, talking about her EpiPen and saying that EpiPens were $30 under Obama. They were free under Biden. Now, I'm trying to figure out what exactly were free. I know because we buy EpiPens. And they're now $600, and it's directly Trump's fault. Here's the video of this young lady posting this, and then we're gonna have a response to that in a moment. Here's this lady talking about her EpiPens.
Trump just fucked a lot of Americans in the ass.
Hang on a second. Thank you, Kara Soldier. Dropping a small bullet in the tip jar saying my dad was in New Orleans when they filmed the only SNL outside of New York. He actually watched the sketch being filmed. Oh, wow. That is very cool. That's cool. I did not know they did that. Was it they filmed the only sketch outside of New York. He actually watched the sketch being filmed. Huh, that is cool. I don't know what that is. By the way, good morning, Andrew Thorson. I see you dropped in. Lord Stanhope, you already here. Rick Ashbringer, good morning. And I think got everybody else. All right, here's this chick talking about an EpiPen.
Trump just fucked a lot of Americans in the ass. For the past 4 years,
I am so wrong. Okay, let me try. Let's get it.
My EpiPens, which are life-saving medical devices, have been free. Even under Obama's administration, they were about like $30 because they regulated that price. They made it affordable and accessible for most Americans. Well, my mom had to go get her new ones today. You want to know how much they cost now under Trump's administration? $600.
With insurance?
The pharmacist said, well, it's the Trump administration. That's why it's so expensive. That's why so many medications are about to be so much more expensive, because he literally revoked a bill that lowered the cost of prescription drugs. At this point, I'm just at a loss for words. So many people are probably going to die because it is no longer accessible for them to get this life-saving device. Oh, but don't worry, on the EpiPen website, there's a $15 off coupon. Ooh.
Okay, so there's the video, okay? People talking about EpiPens. Now, it just happens that right under this one from someone called Mega Cult Slayer is someone from Thick with the Blicky, which I'm assuming fat chick with a gun or something. Anyway, under the Obama administration, EpiPen prices started at $110 and ended at $537. They were not $30 and never were for free. So here's a time capsule, I guess, a time lapse of the cost of EpiPens during the Obama administration. January 16, 2008, $110. So it was never $30. That's a lie. And then they go through about midway through his 8 years, 229, November 8th, 2013, 313. At the end of his term, now this ends at November. Okay, this ends November 23rd, 2015, $537. That's what EpiPens were. Now, clearly, there's another year there where they don't have the price, but they were never $30 under President Obama. And I'm trying to figure out, were EpiPens free under the Biden administration? I don't know about that. Now someone says, MAGA better hope they don't have a family member who needs an EpiPen. Under Biden, they were free, but Trump decided that the filthy rich pharmaceutical companies need those profits. They will now cost $110 to $600. You get what you vote for. Well, that's what they cost under Obama. That was the cheapest they were under Obama, was $110. Now, I don't know what bill he reversed or whatever that says says it makes them $600. And here's another repeating the same shit. They were $30 under Obama. They were free under Biden. They're now $600. It's directly Trump's fault. Someone here says Canada will sadly have to guard our pharmaceutical supply chain immediately. The poor bloody Americans will be desperate soon. Well, look, I get it. We need to figure out how to rein in our pharmaceutical companies and the price they charge Americans. Probably because they do all the research and development here and they get away with doing that. And a lot of it has to do with how the insurance companies, what they will pay for it. And a lot of the reason some of your medications are so expensive is because the insurance companies kind of have this deal with the pharmaceutical companies. They'll pay them so much for them that people have to buy themselves, make up for the cost that the insurance companies do. So I don't know. It's now here's a dark history of EpiPens. By the way, good morning. Number one is in the house. Good morning. Nice to see you. So here's someone who says the dark history of EpiPens. In the 70s, the concept of the EpiPen, epinephrine auto-injector, was developed to provide a quick response to anaphylactic reactions, marking a significant advancement in emergency medicine. 2007, Mylan Pharmaceuticals acquires the right to manufacture and distribute the EpiPen. At this time, the 2-pack of EpiPens cost around $50. In 2007, after 2007, Mylan begins to implement strategies to increase the price of the EpiPen, leveraging its market position. This includes extension of patents to prevent generic competition. That's important too, because a lot of these pharmaceutical companies have this monopoly on things they do. Now, granted, they do all the research and development on it, so it makes sense that maybe there's a time span where they can avoid doing generic reproduction of it. But is that for the best interest of, of the people? Again, pharmaceutical companies have way too much power. 2012, Sanofi introduces Auvi-Q, the competing epinephrine auto-injector, but Mylan maintains its market dominance through aggressive marketing and payer negotiation. 2014, the Mylan CEO, Heather Bresch, prepares investors for potential competition from Auvi-Q, but expresses confidence in EpiPen's market position due to high regulatory barriers for generics. Again, that's government regulation barriers to competitors. 2015, Auvi-Q faces a recall, significantly reducing the competition and allowing Mylan to reinforce its market control over EpiPens, leading to further price increases. 2016, the price of EpiPen reaches over $600 for a 2-pack, a more than 500% increase since Mylan's acquisition. This price hike draws public and congressional scrutiny due to reports that Mylan's cost to produce the EpiPen is about $35 for each EpiPen. Now that's interesting. 2016, that's not when Trump was in office. That's when Barack Obama was in office. 2016. Also, amid backlash, Mylan announces plan to launch a generic version of the EpiPen at a lower price, around $300, to address public outcry. 2016 onward, continued criticism and legislative efforts to emerge, aiming to address the affordability of EpiPens. This includes discussions around laws to cap the cost of epinephrine auto-injections. 2024, the New York State Legislature passes a bill to cap the cost of an EpiPen 2-pack at $100, set to take effect in January 1st, 2026, following advocacy efforts by groups like FAIR, ongoing efforts to continue to reform drug pricing and patent laws to prevent similar instances of price gouging, and to ensure access to essential medications like EpiPens for all customers. So there you go. That is the kind of a short history on EpiPens. And again, here it is. Easy to get, like at $100. So here's some different places that sell EpiPens. I don't know where she's spending $600, but here they're at CVS $171, Target $171, Walmart $180, all around $180 at those places. Walgreens and Albertsons are a little higher. So I'm not seeing the $600 EpiPens, but it doesn't make for a good TikTok video if it's not worth, if it's not really crazy price. So there you go. That's why EpiPen is trending. Fascinating. Real quick, thank you, Chicago Mike, dropping a. Oh wait, how did Gunfire? Oh, I never reset the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor today. Well, Chicago Mike, that 10 spot makes you the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Dropping a Hamilton in the tip jar. But Chicago Mike says, do we need to start using one of Scribelight's cards when we are watching these videos? Leaves out vital context. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what we need to do. And thank you for sponsoring the show. You are the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Moving on. Also, what do we got? Oh, COBOL is trending. Now, okay. If you're a computing historian, I had to laugh when I saw this. People are talking about COBOL, the computer language, that when I was in college, back in the early 80s, COBOL was one of the computer languages that we learned on mainframes at Drake University. And I had to laugh when I saw that a bunch of government systems are still running on COBOL. And I was like, what? How does... I can't believe anyone still uses COBOL as your main language. I'm like, what is going on here? Oh, wait, did I ever click that link? I did. Oh, I did. Okay, I did. So apparently they're going through some of these systems in the government, and the Elon Musk genius guys are out there trying to find government waste. And some of these are still running on COBOL in the United States government. And I'm like, don't you guys ever upgrade your systems? What? By the way, good job. Good morning, John Arnott. What's up? I was just laughing. COBOL is what most banking systems around the world still use from all their financial transactions. That's amazing to me. it works. Why change it? I'm just curious. It's surprised me. That's all. And if it still works, great. Hello, Evan S. By the way, they carved it into stone tablets. Yeah, I just thought, oh my God, they're still using COBOL. Because I remember, I did learn BASIC when I was in college, and started to take a COBOL class. But I'm just funny. It's just funny to me. But apparently, all the people who do not like Elon Musk are suddenly COBOL experts. So Elon Musk posting facts about Social Security, and all of a sudden, all resistance are COBOL experts. Okay, so apparently there goes the 1875 COBOL date theory. So someone here says, oh, this is Elon Musk. According to the Social Security database, these are the numbers of people in each age bucket with the death field set to false. Maybe Twilight is real and there are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. So it shows all these people in their hundreds apparently collecting some forms of Social Security, which I don't know if that's factual or not. But someone says, no, for the last 24 hours, libtards have been telling us that actually there isn't anyone 150 in the database that's a COBOL error. Then Elon posts this and shows that not only is that BS, but the database holds people over the age of 150. Leftists are snakes, ignore them. So people are saying that when they told us that there are people who are listed as getting checks or having checks sent to them that are over 150 years old, that was due to the type of programming that the Social Security Administration uses. So the reason shit runs on COBOL and hasn't been upgraded in 50 years is because it works. Elon Musk has never had a single product work right the first time. He has no idea what that's like or that's even important. And they're saying Musk is an absolute fucking moron. Oh, well, really? I guess great if COBOL works, but still, yeah, they still say, yeah, each age bucket as in like a decade to they break it down into decades. So, but it's funny. I haven't heard this many people talk about COBOL with such mystical reverence since they canceled Battlestar Galactica. It's just a language. It's not some impenetrable mystery that means 20-year-olds can't possibly understand the code or the database queries it generated. So they're saying that these kids, the savants that are helping Elon Musk find ways to fraud don't understand COBOL? Yeah, I don't know. Dear Lord, how is everyone a COBOL programming expert on social media? I'm actually a COBOL programmer. Dieball was my first language on a PDP 1170. It was a DEC's iteration of COBOL. The 1875 epic argument is bullshit. COBOL doesn't even have a date type. It is completely system specific to however the developers initially created, hence the mad scramble for Y2K rewrites. So anyway, all the COBOL experts are talking about COBOL, and that's about all I'm going to go with. Now, by the way, speaking of Elon Musk, I got a couple articles I'm going to get to here. We'll start with this one as far as week 4, no rest for the grifters. This is kind of an update on what's going on with all this stuff. In the 1960s, this is by someone named Clarice. Hello, Clarice Feldman. In the 1960s, when my husband and I first worked in Washington, D.C., according to the Office of Personnel Management, there were about 1,808,000, which include military, non-Department of Defense, non-Department of Defense was 761,000 federal employees. So about 1.8 million is federal employees. At the start of President Trump's second term, there were 2.3 million, of which about 775,000 were military and the Department of Defense employees. This is astonishing bloat. This astonishing bloat in the federal bureaucracy is even more inexplicable when you consider that in the same period, so many of the jobs being performed by these people have been made strikingly more efficient with the creation and improvement of computers and the internet, requiring fewer personnel to accomplish more. Now, a rough estimate is that about 10% of the 275,000 federal employees are no longer on the payroll. 75,000 took the payout option payout option. And there were about 200,000 probationary employees who were laid off. There may be more as agencies are lopping off components. That sounds dangerous. It is possible that not every probationary employee was riffed, but I think this is a fair estimate. The creation of the Department of Government Efficiency, aka DOGE, has exposed the often archaic bookkeeping and computer systems and the enormous waste and grifting in the operations of the federal government. I would deal a blow with some of the things DOGE has uncovered, but the big news is the president has signed a new executive order this week that empowers DOGE to spearhead the complete reorganization of the federal workforce. Among other things, it gives DOGE hiring approval for all positions, reduces the number of new hires, one for every 4 departing employees, with exceptions for those performing jobs relating to public safety, immigrant enforcement, or law enforcement. Agency heads must make plans for reduction in force. The head of the Office of Personnel Management must initiate rulemaking to revise suitability standards, including requiring timely compliance with federal law. A large number of IRS employees are themselves tax delinquent. Oh, snap! Or no, that didn't deserve that. That deserves a clowns. Along with barring those without citizen status or who are guilty of theft or negligent use of government resources and equipment, agency heads must submit within 30 days to reorganization plans, including which agencies or subcomponents should be eliminated or consolidated. Okay, that's all great, right? I think what else we need, as we're finding out, if there is bloat in the federal government, shouldn't every department just have to come up with a plan to reduce their spending? How about every department in the government does that? By I don't even know by how much. We know there's bloat in every department. And I'm including defense. I'm including all the entitlement programs. And it's not the programs themselves, but the number of people doing the jobs. The efficiency of those departments. That's what I'm. Now, the tough thing with Social Security, for example, I know there's a backlog in Social Security. Let's just take that for example. One of the problems there is there's a growth in the number of retirees. Remember, all the boomers are starting to retire, and in fact, we're getting close to. Well, because I'm the last boomer. The next guy behind me is Gen Xer. So. And I'm thinking about retiring in 7 to 10 years. All the boomers are retiring. One of the biggest generations is retiring. Then the Gen Xers are going to start retiring too. So but you get then again, a lot of us are living longer too. So that puts a bit of a strain on those types of things. But the whole rest of the game, even the Defense Department, they're talking about increasing defense spending. I got a better idea. And I'm not against defense. I'll bet you dollars to donuts that if they kept the defense spending at the same level or even did a penny plan where it's 1% less, every department in the U.S. government, 1% lower your costs, I'll bet you there's a lot of stuff they could get rid of that they don't need. They just have lots of people and they're used to being able to spend this much money. So they're like, oh, we need more money every year. Because what happens is every time they appropriate money for any of these departments, okay, they kind of have this thing where, oh, well, if we don't spend it by the end of our fiscal year or whatever, we won't get that much next year. So they find a way to spend it, even if it's stupid. That's why you have probably the USAID doling out funds to the weirdest shit that we keep hearing about. But I'm going to guess that it's not just USAID doing that. I'm sure the State Department does it. I'm sure the Department of Commerce does it. I'm sure the Department of Education does it. I'm sure all these departments do it because I think they made it even a law that you have to spend everything we give you or you're not going to get that next year. Hey, I got a better idea. If your department doesn't spend all the money we allocate you, that's awesome. Give it back. Or don't spend it. That's what it should be. But the government, we have laws that require them to spend everything we give them. That's stupid. You should all, and part of the problem, here's the biggest problem. Just like I say with government unions, who are the government unions fighting against to get more, always get more? They're fighting against the taxpayer, but our government thinks we have unlimited funds because they don't have to compete with them. It's not like if I'm a United Auto worker working at Ford and I'm negotiating against Ford for better pay, but also Ford's got to be in business for me to even keep getting pay. There's a balance there because Ford's got to compete with Chrysler or Stellantis or whatever the fuck that's called now. It's Chrysler and Chevy and BMW. And they have to compete with all these other companies, and they all want to stay in business. So the workers are competing against the profits of the company that needs to stay in business so they still have a job. There's an incentive to give and take. What's the incentive for government employee unions to have give and take? Well, they don't. Because the government can always print more money to give to them. And that's what it's like with our budget. If we allocate, or we say, okay, this year, this is your budget, and this is how much money we're giving you to spend, and you must spend it. No! How about, this is how much your budget is. And let's say you come in 10% under budget. By the end of the year. Right now, they're forced to spend that 10%. I say no. No. Put that money back in the treasury. Give somebody a bonus for coming in 10% under. I don't know, something. It's nuts. Anyway, so this article goes on. This reorganization is absolutely essential. There are we're $36 trillion of debt. A trillion, if all these zeros are hard to grasp, is 1,000 billion. By last count I saw, in a matter of weeks, Doge has already eliminated about $60 billion of waste and fraud, which is not very much. We need to eliminate $1 trillion from our budget, which is approximately $4 trillion. We need the deficits are just ridiculous. As the legacy press doesn't seem to be giving this attention it deserves, let me give you a sampling of the cuts and diversions which caught my attention. Okay, this gives a bunch of the different shock. The U.S. Army has diverted. Oh, here's an example. Shock. The U.S. Army has diverted over $151 million meant for soldiers' food, according to the Military Times. Financial records show that more than half of the money collected from junior enlisted troops was spent elsewhere. Food funds allocations at select Army bases, Fort Stewart, Georgia, $17 million collected, $2.1 million spent on food. Fort Drum, New York, $18 million collected, $3.9 million spent on food. Fort Carson, Colorado, $22 million collected, $5 million spent on food. Okay, what is going on? They give you a bunch of these different places where they were spending about maybe less than a tenth to a third of what they're allocated for food. All that money should be coming back. Army officials refused to disclose where the missing funds went, despite growing concerns about food shortages on bases. Why are there food shortages on bases on a base that collected $18.2 million and only spent $3.9 million on food services? Where's the other $14 million? They refused to disclose where the missing funds went, despite growing concerns about food shortages on bases. Soldiers require sufficient meals with adequate caloric intake and nutrition. Meanwhile, taxpayers demand that their funds are spent on what the U.S. government claims they are being spent on. The Pentagon continues to be in need of reform, and the Doge audit of the Department of Defense should be an informative one since it has failed 7 audits in a row. Hell yeah. Holy Moses. Jethro Hetterer, good morning, by the way, and thank you for buying a sweatshirt from the P-Dog Night store. $50 million binary environmental justice grant to the Climate Justice Alliance, which believes climate justice travels through a free Palestine, was canceled by Lee Zeldin. So, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in here. Look, the United States government deserves the enema it's getting right now. And let's continue pushing those bills right up the government's ass until all the shit falls out. That's a terrible analogy, but I'm staying with it. Thank you, Avocados Diablo. Sponsor the show again, dropping another $2.23 in the tip jar. Who says, also keep in mind when it comes to government employee unions, they can elect the people who sit across the negotiating table from them. They can basically fix the outcome by electing people sympathetic to the cause. Yeah, that's exactly right. So a teachers union can push to get people who are going to always give them more and and help get them elected. And it's crazy because they get sometimes they get federal funds. And I don't know if the unions themselves get federal funds, but now I wonder with the way USAID throws out money. But so they collect funds so they can elect politicians who are going to give them more every time. And that's Democrats. So it's just, yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, I pulled this article down already. Let's move on. James Comey is trending. Apparently, what is going on with James Comey? I can't remember why he's trending. Here's a video of James Comey actually admitting the FBI sabotaged Trump and his administration, admitting to sedition with a smile on his face. Comey was not pardoned by Joe Biden. He never thought he would be at risk. He was mistaken. Lock him up. So here's, I guess, I don't know if this is from Sunday, or when was this? I don't know when this was from, but let's see what he says here. James Comey.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine 2 FBI agents ending up in the same room. How did that happen?
I sent them.
Wait, what? Wait, let's try this again.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine 2 FBI agents ending up in the same room. How did that happen?
I sent them. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, in the George W. Bush administration, for example, or the Obama administration. In both of those administrations, there was process. And so if the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought it's early enough. Let's just send a couple guys over.
You look at this.
Oh, so he circumvented the system? What does that mean? What is he saying there? What is Comey saying? Holy shit. Kash Patel will be confirmed as the new director of the FBI. James Comey is in complete panic. Post in the comments if you support Patel indicting Comey for his fake Russia scandal and spying on President Trump. Yeah, so basically they also had people from agencies, I won't say which, in the Trump White House spying on the president.
When you think about a second Trump administration, what do you think the implications would be for the FBI?
Oh, serious, for the Justice Department and the FBI, because Trump is coming for those institutions. He knows their power, and I think he has regrets that he didn't work hard enough to corrupt them last time.
Corrupt them? As if they weren't already corrupt. What a fuckwad.
So he's coming for them, and that's a danger for all Americans. He's going to put people in positions in those organizations. He didn't have all-stars the last time. He'll have the bottom of the barrel this time. But people who will want to do his will, and that should worry every American.
Especially James Comey. Well, maybe not Comey, but there's certain, like Strzok and Page and all them fuckers, man. So anyway, someone here says whistleblower James Comey had FBI honeypot spies infiltrate Trump's 2016 campaign. Alleged off-the-books investigation predated FBI Russian collusion probe. So they had people infiltrating his campaign in the 2016 election. Okay, that's why Comey's trending. Enough about him. I'm going to get to the main topic. Free speech, which is the main topic today. And boy, oh boy, did J.D. Vance at the Munich, what is it called? The Munich, what the hell is that called? Here, at the Munich security conference, at the Munich security conference. Hello, Eagle, by the way. TC's in the house. Nice to see you here. So J.D. Vance did this speech at the Munich Security Conference. And it wasn't necessarily well received by all the Europeans. He's talking about warning them about as Miranda Devine here says, the dark cloud of censorship. And a bunch of the critics are freaked out. So here's part of this editorial by Miranda Devine. The panic that gripped Europe's political elites after J.D. Vance delivered some overdue home truths in Munich found expression back at home in the most embarrassing question ever asked by a network anchor. Our vice president had accused smug bureaucrats at the Munich Security Conference of abandoning free speech and allowing unchecked migration to roil their countries, warned them to respect their voters, and told them America should not bear the primary burden of funding Europe's security. Yeah, shouldn't they be working on their own security? Anyway, quote, if you're running in fear of your own voters, there's nothing America can do for you, nor for that matter, is there anything that you can do for the American people who elected me and elected President Trump, he said. You need democratic mandates to accomplish anything of value. Cue the apoplexy here and abroad. The critics of Vance's speech all seem deliberately to miss the point, but the most ridiculous of all came from Vance's old sparring partner, CBS's Margaret Brennan. Now, let's look at what CBS's Margaret Brennan she was talking to Marco Rubio, okay? And I think this is the main part that everyone's talking about, so let's just show this clip of it. Right? Yeah.
He was standing in a country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide.
What?
And he met with the head of a political party that has far-right views and some historic ties to extreme groups. The context of that was changing the tone of it. And you know that the censorship
I have to disagree with you.
So what she's saying is that the reason the guy with the funny mustache rose to power is because Germany allowed too much free speech. That's what she's trying to say. And then saying that apparently, I don't know if that, went melded into Hitler's reign, because she's saying there might have been too much free speech then too, which I don't think is the case. But she's saying that the reason Hitler rose to power is because Germany had too much free speech. Now let's see here just Rubio's brief challenge to that, and then I have another video that kind of explains where she is just out to fucking lunch.
Specifically about the right.
No, I have to disagree with you. Free speech was not used to conduct a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an authoritarian Nazi regime that happened to also be
authoritarian Nazi socialist regime.
Be genocidal because they hated Jews and they hated minorities and they hated those that they had a list of people they hated, but primarily the Jews. There was no free speech in Nazi Germany.
He was standing.
Okay, now, that's not what she was saying either. She wasn't talking about free speech in Nazi Germany. She's saying that part of Hitler's rise to power was because of free speech. That's wrong too, though. In fact, let's see. Margaret Brennan did a J.D. Vance speech before she claimed that free speech caused the Holocaust. So this is something that she said. This is the segment Margaret Brennan did on J.D. Vance's speech before she claimed that free speech caused the Holocaust. This is, well, to put it mildly, bullshit. Listen to this.
Well, it sounded to a lot of these allies of the United States like they were being described as adversaries or autocrats. It was really the focus here, two things. One of them was migration, and the second was what Vice President Vance calls censorship. He was trying to bring that MAGA message of the enemy within.
MAGA message? No. No, that's not what. Oh, my God. If he's, that's a terrible screen freeze. No. What he was talking about is how many places in Europe are jailing people for thought crimes. That's what he was talking about in that speech. Holy shit.
Global stage. And specifically, he says that European leaders aren't showing that they have strong democracies when they sideline controversial groups. He went out of his way to meet with the head of the AfD. That's a political party that's under investigation in Germany because it's so far right and
oh my God,
for potentially
so far
conducting
right.
extremism. And he mentioned that car ramming in Munich recently conducted by an Afghan migrant as an example of what he says is out of control migration. He says that's proof you've got to bring immigration skeptics in.
And German people are afraid to speak their mind on it because if they say anything bad about the migrants, they will arrest them and charge them with hate crimes and put them in jail. And that's what he's talking about, that people are not allowed to speak their mind on public policy in Germany. Real quick. Thank you, Avocado Diablo. Couple more small bullets in the tip jar. The first one, back to the last subject. Also keep in mind when it comes to government employee unions. Oh, I wrote that, did that one. And then a new one who says, thank you, Avocado Diablo, another small bullet. Even the Weimar did not have free speech. They did everything they could to censor and shut up Hitler. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna. I got a video that actually illustrates that and puts it much more eloquently than I can, and therefore I'm gonna play a video instead of talk myself because I'm not all that eloquent and shit. So here we go. Where's the? Let's see. Let me find this clip first. Okay, here's the one I wanted to show you. Because this completely debunks what Margaret Brennan says. So someone said, would hate speech laws have stopped the Nazis? No, absolutely not. In fact, the hate speech laws existed in post-World War I Germany, and the hate speech laws helped the Nazis gain power. Hello, Puffer P. Smiles. What's up? So here's the clip that kind of debunks this a little bit here.
If Germany had only had anti-hate speech laws and had censored the Nazi speech, Hitler would not have risen to power, the Holocaust would not have happened.
That's the claim she's going to debunk.
Experts refer to that theory as the Weimar fallacy, referring to the Weimar Republic from 1918 to 1933. And the word fallacy because it is in fact not true that there was free speech for hate speech, including Nazi speech, during the Weimar Republic. To the contrary, Germany then had multiple laws that restricted hate speech, insulting.
Look at this image. Look at this image. That image might be in reference to somebody in particular, in fact, because like as Reaction Puerto Rico says, Mustache Man was sent to prison to shut him up. Yeah, yeah, interesting. That's him.
Speech that
and he
advocated
became because of their speech laws. He became kind of the free speech martyr, and people wanted to hear him more. You gotta put the antidote to bad speech is more speech, not trying to restrict it to make people want to go, well, what were they saying? I want to know what they're saying.
Or might incite violence against various groups, including religious groups, laws against defaming or insulting a religion, including the Jewish religion.
And guess what? Now that's where one of our mistakes is. I cannot stand anti-Semites. I cannot stand people who hate other people for reasons of religion or color or whatever, any demographic. I can't stand that. But the idea that you're going to make hate speech laws to make it illegal to say something anti-Semitic or anti-black or anti-whatever. No, I don't want that. Even if it's even if the Hate Marty Society of America, I don't care. Hate Marty Society of America should still have free speech. Period. And we'll hash it out when they say some stupid shit about Marty and all the Marty loving people of the world. Tell them they're fucking idiots. That's the best way to do it and make them look like fucking idiots. There you go.
And all of those laws were very strictly enforced, including by the leading Jewish organization at the time. There was a very large organization, I think it's quite similar in concept to the Anti-Defamation League in the United States, that had offices all over Germany and made sure that all of these laws were regularly enforced through both criminal prosecution and civil lawsuits. And many of the leading Nazis were repeatedly prosecuted and convicted and even served
and
prison
then what
times.
happened?
There were court orders suppressing the publication of various Nazi newspapers. Pamphlets that were anti-Semitic were punished and were suppressed. Hitler himself was actually banned from public speaking for several years. We obviously know that despite the speech suppression, the punishment of speech, it was hardly effective in preventing the rise of Nazism. To the contrary, the Nazis themselves, as well as many historians, believe that the net impact of those laws censoring Nazi speech was to amplify their message.
Because
to give them
now everyone wanted to figure out what the hell they said.
Never have
Ding!
received,
oh.
And to gain sympathy that they otherwise never would have received. This is a common phenomenon that provocateurs to this day seek to take advantage of, the so-called forbidden fruits phenomenon, that people become more interested in an idea or an expression.
You try to ban it. It's kind of like the Streisand effect. Okay. You try to keep it a secret. People want to see it even more. Streisand effect is about Barbara Streisand's house, and people they found out where she lives, and people wanted to see her house in Malibu. Anyway, good morning, Sapphire Dragon, Brandon Narlow, and Puff for Peace Smiles. I already said. Nice to have you all here. Welcome. So anyway, so more on the controversy though. In front page, J.D. Vance's speech. Unacceptable. It's unacceptable. The European elites hated it. It was March 5th, 1946 at Westminster College in Fulton, Missouri, that Winston Churchill, who the previous year had been unceremoniously dumped as prime minister after triumphantly steering the United Kingdom through World War II, gave a speech that would echo down the generations. The United States, he told his audience, stood now at the pinnacle of world power, a role that placed upon its shoulders an awe-inspiring accountability to the future. The question now was, what then is the overall strategic concept which we should inscribe today? The nations of the West, newly freed from the horror of Nazism, now face two formidable threats, war and tyranny. For the immediate future, the atom bomb would protect the free world from the former. But as the latter, Churchill warned that if from Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent. The ancient states of Central and Eastern Europe were now under the control of police governments that were puppets of the Kremlin. This, Churchill emphasized, was not the liberated Europe we fought to build up. And the only way to address it was for the still free countries of the West, with America and Britain in the lead, to maintain their military strength as well as their solid alliance. Now, the importance of Churchill's speech was, this is in front page, by the way, it's here. The importance of Churchill's speech was instantly recognized around the world. So was the speech given last Friday by Vice President J.D. Vance at the Munich Security Conference. Like Churchill, Vance brought to the moment a background as a military veteran, a political leader, and a gifted author. Like Churchill, Vance took the occasion not to flatter his audience of European politicians and military officials for their past achievements, but to challenge them with some difficult words about the future. And like Churchill, Vance ruffled some feathers. Less than a year after VE and VJ Day, many ordinary people on both sides of the Atlantic were war-weary, eager to put conflict behind them. The last thing they wanted was to be told that they had to remain vigilant, bolster their armed forces, and look upon their erstwhile Russian allies as adversaries. Many diplomats, too, saw in the newly established United Nations an opportunity for the Western allies and the Soviet bloc to work together in the long term as friends. Churchill's speech was a wake-up call and would be recognized as such in the decades to come, but at the time, it was, for many, an unwelcome provocation. And Vance, his speech, clocked in at just under 20 minutes, was also a wake-up call and an unwelcome provocation. Like Churchill, he too spoke about security. In passing, he expressed hope for a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine. But he went on to say that the threat he worries about most where Europe is concerned is the threat from within. He mentioned the retreat of Europe from some of the most fundamental values shared with the United States of America, a retreat exemplified by the former European commissioner who was delighted when Romania annulled an entire election and who said that the same might happen in Germany by the European Union's plans to shut down social media if they don't censor hateful content, by the German government's raids on the homes of anti-feminists, by the conviction in Sweden of a Christian activist who burned a Koran, by the British veteran found guilty of praying silently near an abortion clinic, and by the Scottish government's warning to its people that in certain circumstances, private prayers in their home can violate the law. Fuck. Vance acknowledged that this sort of activity is also a problem in the United States, where, for example, the Biden administration bullied social media firms to silence the truth about the origins of COVID-19. But he added that under Trump, the opposite approach will be taken. We may disagree with your views, he said, but we will fight to defend your right to offer them in the public square. It was right out of Voltaire. It was a declaration that a gathering of leaders in free countries would have applauded lustily just a few decades ago. This time, however, Vance's statement received just a pathetic smattering of applause. Vance proceeded to note that the Munich conference itself had banned the participation of some parties of both the left and the right. He criticized the decision, maintaining that the political leaders must be in dialogue with people who represent real constituencies. Yes, he conceded, it is important to talk about defense spending and such, but if we're concerned about our nation's security, it's also important to know what it is we are defending in the first place. What, he asked, is the positive vision that animates this shared security compact? There is no security, he insisted, if you are afraid of the voices, the opinions, and the conscience that guide your very own people. At which point, he raised the subject of mass migration. Now, I'm going to stop there on this article. There's a lot more, but that's just it. And yes, the spanking was not very well received. You're absolutely right. And it shows up European leaders horrified after JD rips them a new butthole. Rips their censorship laws of mass immigration policies at the Munich Security Conference. There's another article in American Greatness about it. And so again, which brings us back to Margaret Brennan. Her question. Oh, here's the partial transcript. Let's see if they have what part of the clip they have. They have they have the whole 14-minute segment with Marco Rubio. Here's the part though that they highlight. Brennan asks, "I want to ask you about what happened in Munich, Germany, at the security conference. Vice President Vance gave a speech. He told U.S. allies that the threat he worries about is not Russia, it's not China. He called it the threat from within." Well, we saw that, right? We saw him say that, and how can he not be right with that? If you're not taking care of your issues within, what happens? Especially with the migration problems that we're having, they're seeing in Europe all over the place with the car attacks, for example. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but anyway. And he lectured about what he described as censorship, mainly focusing, though, on including more views from the right. No, he didn't. And that's just it. He didn't say including more views from the right. He didn't say from where. Other than that some parties were excluded from the security conference from your own countries because they weren't in the correct party. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave this, but there's a transcript of part of the interview here. I'm going to move on though because I'm running out of time here. I just realized. So, but yeah, this speech is in the links today. It's from the FIRE, which is, I can't remember what FIRE stands for, but they're a free speech and civil liberties group that's not the ACLU. Reporting unacceptable views, by the way. Let's see, what else I have here? Oh, speaking of free speech, this is fascinating. So, and this is completely, it's not related to what J.D. Vance did, but this is another free speech issue. This guy named Mike Lukovich. Now, Mike Lukovich has 74,000 followers on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. And apparently he posted this cartoon on X, and which, you know, this is opinion, obviously an opinion cartoon right here. No more free lunch. Fed funds must get. Like, it's funny. And then saying the world's poorest aren't going to get anything, but he gets all this money. Well, look, not to saying that the world's poor, we shouldn't try to do our best to help when we can. The Fed funds that Elon Musk gets are for services. For example, he launches the most satellites than anybody, more launches than any other group combined, of getting shit into space and from space. For example, those two astronauts that are stuck in space because of, was it the Boeing issue? Well, Elon Musk's rocket's going to go up and get him, bring him home. I don't know if he's done that yet, but anyway. So this, the cartoon certainly has this leftist bet. Oh my gosh, Elon Musk is owning the trough, and these people aren't getting anything from the trough. Whatever. So he said he received this email. Now this is fascinating. This is fascinating. So he says he received this email, apparently from X somehow, that says, content issue on M. Lukovich's page. We received a complaint about the content you posted on your page. After reviewing it, we found that it does not comply with our X community guidelines. The decision was made on February 16, 2026, and decision ID, blah, 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 right? And it just was kind of curious about this because, well, it just didn't seem real. Well, and there happens to be a community note on this. Readers added context, which they thought people might want to know. The OP, Mike Lukovich, states in a reply that the email is fake. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And then down here he says, update, I have confirmed this is a fake email. Keep an eye out. Who faked the email? Like, did he actually receive an email like this? Or did he create the fake email? Who sent him the email? Because his post wasn't taken down. How do you get a fake email and then say, oh, then you confirm, oh, I have confirmed that this is a fake email. Keep an eye out. How does that happen? Anybody? Anybody? I don't know. I don't know how that works. So anyway, that was one of those curious things that I thought was interesting. Moving on. Also, Amy Klobuchar, one of my United States senators from the great state of Minnesota, posted something that people are talking about, and here it is. Now, this is how Grok summarizes it. Klobuchar's Ukraine support triggers nationalism debate. Does it? A nationalist debate? Now, you know that somehow the people who support Amy Klobuchar found a way to make this, because, you know, it basically, Grok just takes what people are saying about any given thing and summarizes it, okay? And so Senator Amy Klobuchar has sparked a debate by wearing a Stand With Ukraine t-shirt, which many of her social media followers have criticized, arguing that she should prioritize American interest over international solidarity. This incident, okay, I don't care how they reflects or broadly talked about or whatever, but here's my senator, Amy Klobuchar, and this is what she posted. figured it was a good T-shirt to wear today. Stand with Ukraine. She has the Minnesota, like something Minnesota there. Stand with Ukraine, Minnesota. Now, when I first saw this, I was thinking to myself, why is your senator wearing that dumbass T-shirt? How about, it's so funny because for so long, standing with Ukraine, like to what extent do you stand with Ukraine, Senator? Because I would like to see some peace so that war doesn't expand into Europe farther and farther and farther. So I think the idea that, they're trying to figure that out over there is probably more important than standing with Ukraine. Stand for peace. But if you do stand for peace, or if you do stand with Ukraine, how far does that go? For example, Senator, rather than just sending all our treasure over there, well, you must certainly support putting boots on the ground in Ukraine to fight off the Russians, right? How far does that go? And when should we end standing with Ukraine and perhaps standing for peace? The peace that you all on the left for years and decades have said, we need peace. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Or I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. Well, there's no harmony right now. We need to create peace over there. Hello, Midnight Exiles, by the way. Ukraine is Israel's trap house. That's why there is so much power behind it. I don't know about that, but whatever it is, what's up with the Ukraine thing? Look, we made this pact with Russia as the walls came down that we would not encroach any farther towards Russia, adding all these places, all these countries to NATO. We've been continually adding countries to NATO. And I can understand maybe where the Russians think, oh my God, they keep getting closer and closer. Now they're talking about making Ukraine part of NATO? Are you nuts? How does that reassure the Russians? Now, some of the people that's talking about what could happen is, we could go back to the 2014 borders where Crimea and the Donbass region are not part of Russia. By the way, this whole Donbass region, before, I think was it 2014? I can't remember how long ago it was, but that region used to be independent. It didn't even used to be part of Ukraine or Russia. It was kind of an independent region. It was two different entities there, and they were to remain neutral. And I think that's what it may be what the Russians want. I don't know. I wish I knew more about it. But it's just weird that then all of a sudden it became part of Ukraine, and then the people there wanted Russia. Some of the people there, which is about 3 million Russian ethnic Russians, wanted Russia to protect them. They're just going back and forth. I don't understand the whole damn thing. No, the Ruskies, no, they're not going to give up Crimea. I already know that. But this shirt just, it bothers me. How about standing with Americans? How about standing with people who've been hurt by disasters or whatever? How about standing for peace and, working for the best outcome? But standing just with Ukraine, I don't know. It just bothered me. And lots of people thought it was, tone deaf. And in fact, some of the replies, I stand with Ukraine. Let's read some of the replies. Juanita Broderick. America first, Amy. You should stand for America. I can't argue with that. Stand with your own country, retard. Okay. Somebody here. I'm old enough to remember when politicians from both parties stood with America above all else. Yep. How about this one? How about you stand with America, dipshit? Oh, yeah. Okay, so lots of people showing that up. Again, sick of this shit, stand with America for fuck's sake. Basically, that's the common reply to Amy Klobuchar, my senator from the great state of Minnesota. All right, I'm going to quick do some lightning round here because I got to get out of here. Geraldo Rivera's trending. Why? Well, what did Geraldo say? Geraldo Rivera says, Zelensky is right. After all, Ukraine has endured the deaths and disruption of civilian life. Now comes the United States to insist we know what's best for them. How long before lying Putin insists on that Poland and the Baltic states also belong to him? Fuck Russia. So apparently he's, because Zelensky, and I agree that Zelensky needs to be a part of the peace talks, and I'm not sure why there's this idea that Trump is going to dictate to them how this peace process is going, but they need to figure something out to stop that war. But that's why Geraldo is trending. And I guess I can't really find. Some people are just calling Geraldo a dipshit too. Stick to what is in Al Capone's safe. You literally don't know your ass from your elbow when it comes to international policy. No, Geraldo, fuck you. So that's from Roger Stone. Ha! Anyway, that's why he's trending. Zelensky's also trending, and this is called to action. Listen to the applause Zelensky received in Munich. This is what it sounds like to celebrate democracy instead of destroying it. Hey, I got an idea. How about the European Union help Zelensky more then, instead of us carrying the burden? We're not over in Europe. I don't mind helping out, but damn, I'm pretty sure our money has dwarfed what the rest of the entire European Union has put into pushing back against Russia and Ukraine. In fact, let them send their troops there, or let them create their own security that we can always supplement. But we don't need to be your outsourced security agreement. Huh? How about that? Someone says if you're going to have peace with talks with Putin about ending his war with Ukraine, the peace talks are going to take place in Saudi Arabia. Without Zelensky there, you're not having peace talks. Well, maybe he needs to go. Apparently, Zelensky has also said that he's not going to accept any peace deal. Here's Zelensky.
That President Trump said this week. He did not say yes when he was asked if he sees Ukraine as an equal member in the peace process. He did say later that Ukraine...
Does he look coked up to you? What's up with him? Anyway.
...would have a seat at the table. Have you been given any assurances that Ukraine will have an equal seat at the negotiating table?
So I will never accept any decisions between the United States and Russia about Ukraine. Never. And our people, never. And our adults and children and everybody. It can't be so. This is the war in Ukraine against us, and it's our human losses. And we are thankful for all the support, unity between USA, in USA, around Ukraine support, bipartisan unity, bipartisan support. We're thankful for all of this, but there is no any leader in the world who can really make a deal with Putin without us, about us.
Thing that President Trump said this week. He did not.
Here, we'll skip that there. Now, some people are like, oh, I wouldn't say fuck Putin, but yeah, they've got an awful lot of money from us. They're so excited about the applause for Ukraine. It's funny too, because this call to activism says, listen to the applause Zelensky received in Munich. This is what it sounds like to celebrate democracy instead of destroying it. You dumbasses remember that Zelensky canceled elections in Ukraine, right? They canceled all. In fact, Zelensky banned opposition parties in Ukraine. So, right, that doesn't sound like democracy to me. Anyway, a drug addict actor was killing his own citizens before 2022, then canceled the media, Orthodox Church, and elections, and sent a couple generations of Ukrainian men to their doom while he made billions. Yeah, he's a billionaire. He has major property. He has a big $25 million home in Florida, too. Zelensky is one of the worst dictators in the past 200 years. Facts don't care about your propaganda. So... yeah. So anyway, Zelensky's trending. Moving on, Germany, that's more in relation to the Munich conference. Now, here's something interesting that someone posted. The image of migrant crime. This image of migrant crime is illegal in Germany. Sharing it will get you fined. This is Ian Miles Chong. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah. Germany will throw you in prison if you retweet this video of thousands of Germans protesting open borders late last year. Do not repost this. Germany supports illegals more than their own. Vice President J.D. Vance is right. So lots of people talking about how free speech in Germany, you can't do it. You can't have it. You can't have it if you are critical of the German government. That sounds kind of like, I wonder how that worked out in a former German government with a guy with a funny mustache. If you were critical of the German government, I'm pretty sure they disappeared your ass. Also, this guy, so at the Munich Security Conference, Chairman Christoph Huygen became visibly emotional, shedding tears at the conclusion of his farewell speech, which followed remarks by U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. Look at this shit. What is going on with this guy? This is the last speaker at the security conference.
After the speech of Vice President Vance on Friday, we have to fear that our common value base is not that common anymore.
Yeah, free speech. Yes, you need to fix your shit.
I'm very grateful to all those European politicians that spoke out and reaffirmed the values and principles that they are defending.
I will bet you that some of the people in your countries were cheering that, though. Especially in England and Scotland and Germany, where you can get arrested for your thought crimes. What? No. In fact, in England, again, a guy praying silently near an abortion clinic. They literally had to ask him, are you praying silently? Are you praying? They arrested him for not even praying out loud, literally just thinking in his head. That is a thought crime. Scotland telling you that if you retweet something or if you offend somebody, but of course the offense can only go in one direction. If you offend somebody, you can be brought up on charges. Yes. What were his words here? His words were, reaffirm the values and principles
that they are defending.
Wait a minute.
No one very grateful to all those European politicians that spoke out and reaffirmed the values and principles that our common value base
that our common value base is not that common anymore. Yes, because you are restricting people for thought crimes. You're arresting people. You're right. Our common value base is shattered if you keep doing that shit.
It's not that common anymore. Now, I'm very grateful to all those European politicians that spoke out and reaffirmed the values and principles that they are defending. No one did this better than President Zelensky. Let me conclude, and this becomes difficult.
He starts crying and leaves. He doesn't even finish his speech. He just leaves. He leaves. He needs a hug. What? I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe you didn't listen carefully to the words that J.D. Vance was saying. And you can't internalize it. You're too busy trying to be so good, so much better than everybody else. Anyway. All right, let's finish up just a couple headlines that are in the links, plus I'll leave the aggregator in there. But this is interesting. Rasmussen, more Americans now say the U.S. is on the right track, breaking a 20-year streak of pessimism. Now, I'm not going to jump on this, although, because, everyone's going to say, oh, well, it's just Rasmussen. It's a Rasmussen. New Rasmussen polls found more Americans say the country is heading in the right direction than say it's on the wrong track, breaking a 20-year streak in which Americans had generally reported feeling that the country was going downhill. According to Rasmussen, 47% of respondents now say they believe the United States is going in the right direction, compared to 46% that said the nation is on the wrong track. So you can probably, I would say that that correlates with Trump voters. Be interesting to see if that's an outlier poll, if other polling companies say do the same thing. But that's interesting. In legal insurrection, the only constitutional crisis is that Democrats lost now that they're trying to govern from the courtroom. That's what I was saying the other day. I just said that. I think I said it to my mother-in-law. I said, yeah, because she repeated that constitutional crisis. I think it was like, yeah, the only constitutional crisis is that Democrats lost and think they're still in charge. That's the truth. But anyway, this is that William Jacobson? Yeah, William Jacobson posted that. Daily Caller, the left's sue everything that moves strategy may end up delivering Trump the ultimate victory because they're fighting Trump by with again lawfare because that's their favorite way. If you can't get your way, get the judges to do it. Partisan judges that puts temporary holds on your actions. Well, some of these lawsuits as they move forward, the judges even themselves having to backtrack. So that'll be interesting if you want to read that article. The Daily Caller also. AOC picks a fight with the worst possible Trump official after a live stream stunt. So she did a live stream where she was telling migrants how to kind of avoid ICE and getting arrested. And so she kind of picked a fight with Tom Homan after that. The I don't know what his actual title is, but the guy who wants to deport everybody. And Tom Homan knows the law on this and knows that you can't do that. And in fact, here he says, you got AOC out there, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman, doing a webinar to help illegals avoid, I guess, apprehension, giving tips about how to continue to remain in the country and ultimately gain the system. That's what Laura Ingraham said. And so he said, I sent out an email to the Deputy Attorney General. At what level is that impediment? Is that impediment? I am not an attorney. I'm not a prosecutor, Homan replied. Is that impediment? As talking about impediment to basically breaking the law. Was she breaking the law? Is that impeding our law enforcement efforts? If so, what are we going to do about it? If she's crossing the line, so I'm working with the Department of Justice to find out where is that line that they cross. So maybe AOC is going to be in trouble now. But I need the Attorney General to opine on that because it's an impediment. It's an impediment in my opinion. I'm not a prosecutor, but we need some further guidance on that. So he's going to get some advice on whether or not she's breaking the law. So now she snaps back. Maybe she's going to be in trouble now, like doing that SpongeBob thing. Maybe he can learn to read. The Constitution should be a good place to start. Unless you're breaking the law. So anyway, there's a battle between Homan and AOC, which is not new. If you remember that hearing where AOC was asking about legal asylees. Dumbass. Washington Free Beacon, taxpayer-funded immigration group is working to disrupt the Trump deportation machine. A pro-immigration group is suing the Trump administration to unfreeze federal grants for immigration programs. Says its aim is to provide constitutionally protected due process rights for illegal aliens facing deportation. Hey, wait a minute, though. Doesn't mean we have to give them money and housing and shit. We don't have to. That's not required. We're doing it out of the goodness of our hearts, and we are just done with that shit. But they're running advertisements on Facebook soliciting donations to disrupt the Trump deportation machine and to stop Trump deportation dystopia. In the Daily Wire, school board walks out on parents, then bars all public comments citing racism. School board members walked out on parents who were upset over the LGBT book Rainbow Parade. The board is doubling down on prohibiting public comments at meetings until at least the end of April, citing, of course, racism. We might have to come back to that tomorrow because also AD sent me a link to something. And honestly, guys, I got to be done. I'm out of time. But the only thing I want to bring to your attention. Oh, and also this, we're gonna watch the Worcester City Council video tomorrow, AD. I appreciate you dropping that in the links. Also, I have a new short video about David Hogg and his first actions as the DNC vice chair, where apparently he's been using their phone number list to solicit donations for his own PAC, which pays him a lot of money. And that's fascinating. Apparently it's not against the rules, but you can watch that video. It's in the links today. And then finally, if you are interested in getting, I got to come up with some new merch. These are still the January 20th, 2025 Unburdened by What Has Been shirts. There's still them. There's a link to that in the links today, which I am about to drop into the chat. So that is it for today. Thanks to everybody who tweeted out the show, everyone who's doing donations, everyone who's in the chat, everyone who comes here on almost a daily basis. I really appreciate you being here. I hope that you all have a wonderful day. As soon as I click these links, and there's that, and there's that. Okay, here we go. And here are the links from today, everything we talked about, and a few extras, plus the aggregator from Ace of Spades blog, which I put in every day now. Here are the links for today. Boom. And boom. There you go. Y'all have a great day. I appreciate you. I got to go. My name is P Dog Knight. And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thanks for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.